on? Okay, we are on. I can go over, quickly before I forget, let us look at our minutes for the 7th of October. How are we with those? I didn't have any corrections.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
They're fine, Dick.
Okay, Colleen, those are approved.
Okay.
That we can quickly go over I've got 3 septic systems that I reviewed. I did not finish the review on the 4th one, which is on 44 Taylor Street. That one still is, I just saw new designs came in this evening. I have not reviewed it, but the 3 that we've got are all Neil Jackson. First one is on 23 Pine Brook Circle. That's a repair. It's a complete system. 3-bedroom house. The fee is paid. Review is complete. It's cleared, pretty level, not quite 3/4 of an acre. Deep sand, 101-inch water table. Wetlands are to the rear, but not influencing this design. This is a community water supply. There's no wells. Issues are the lot size is a little small, and the wetlands are in the back. The design is for a new 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. Got 3 3-foot by 40-foot by 12-inch effective depth trenches. They're not vented. 444 gallons a day are provided versus 440 needed. Fill is required. Reserve area is not provided. They're 6-foot spacing. Does have 5-foot water table separation. Ballast is not required. The existing septic tank is to be pumped, crushed, and removed. Filtration control is specified on this one. The septic tank and SAS separations to wetlands and the wells, since there aren't any community water, more than 100 feet. What I have is to discuss is a trench permit. Still, Neil typically doesn't put high dimensions to the septic tank. He doesn't have it here, but he needs to have them for code. The other is that I found out this week that where Neil just says, that the D-box has to have at least 12 inches spacing in between, he really needs to have some kind of a detail on the distribution box for code. He keeps this note, number 24, requiring a pump and alarm. That has to be removed. But that's what I have on that one. Lee, you're the guy that was out there on this one. What are your thoughts?
I think everything that you touched upon is covering what's on that particular site.
Okay.
I don't see anything else that can be modified or changed or of concern.
How are you with this one, Bill?
Seems straightforward, Dick. No problem.
Okay, me too, Colleen. So that was approved.
Okay.
Next one is 49 Barton Street. This one surprised me. I expected this one to be hill and high water, but it's not. This is a repair, a complete system, 3-bedroom house. This is one we've been after for a couple of years. Fee is paid, review is complete. The cleared, it slopes down as you look at the house, it slopes down to the right towards the east. This is on the north side of Barton Street. It's also a little less than 3/4 of an acre. It's got loose sandy loam, 80-inch, 80 and 85-inch water table. The issue again, a little bit on lot size and a little bit on water table. The design is for a new 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. This one also has 3-foot by 40-foot by 12-inch effective depth trenches, not vented. 444 gallons per day provided versus 440 required. Fill is required. Reserve area. This is essentially the same system as I just talked about. Reserve area is not provided. 6-foot spacing. 5-foot water table separation, ballast isn't required. The existing septic tank and leach field are to be pumped, crushed, and filled. Filtration control isn't specified on this one because there's no wetlands. Septic tank and SAS separations of wetlands and wells more than 100 feet. Discussing the trench permit, the fill, adding a tie dimension to the septic tank. This one matters because he doesn't even, call out even from distance from the house. Again, that after talking to the state guy this week, the code does require that Neil put some kind of a detail on the distribution box on the drawing. That has to be
Okay.
put in there. Lee, you were on this one, and what are your thoughts?
The only difference, well, the only major difference is that initially when we went to this site, I don't know, 18 months ago, we were working in the front yard just off the driveway. And then upon return, we were in the backyard of this property, which the soil changed quite a bit from what we found in the front. And I think in conversation, if I can't remember all the details, but I think that for whatever reason, the homeowner was more receptive to having the system in the backyard. I'm not sure why it took 18 months to figure that out, but the part that matters is that it's finally in the crosshairs of being completed. I know there was some concern for an adjacent property as far as SAS and well location to the property, I believe to the, I want to say northeast, but from what I can tell, everything's been properly addressed going forward.
Okay with this one too?
Dick, do we have a completion date? I know this was kind of a concern of ours. Do we have a completion date requirement as part of this package?
That's
We
actually a
don't
good
have
comment.
that.
Because if we just approve this, they get the design, they get some bids, and they just sit on it for the next 2 years, we've really accomplished nothing.
Do we get well, they only had 2 years from the time that they sold the house to get this thing done. Although they they did do a Title V.
I think
That failed. My
Neil,
suggestion is that Bill, to get this moving, my suggestion is to approve the design, but to get the owner, since it would be approved, get the owner in here and get them to give us a schedule.
Okay. Neil, can you
Shall
arrange
we?
for that?
I can, yes, I can. And the reason it took so long is because the owner didn't want to spend the money to locate his well. He was sure it was in the back. It absolutely was. That's why we perked in the front. And I told him I wasn't designing until I had an absolute location of his well. And come to find out, it was in the front.
Yeah.
So good thing we did look for it.
Yeah,
So that's why we went in the back. So yes, I will arrange for the owner to come in.
okay. So are we gonna approve this one, Lee and Bill?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, Colleen, we're approving that.
Okay,
The next one is also Neil Jackson. This is Lot 5 Taylor Street, Carver Street. This is one of the ones that it's up on the plateau across the street from the Chalosky property. And before you make the turn and start up the next hill. It's new construction, a complete system, 3-bedroom house. The fee is paid. Review is complete. The wooded lot, or was the last time I was there. Level in the front with slope down to the rear. That's northwesterly. A 1.5 acre lot, deep sands with no observed water table. There's no wetlands. The issues, there are none. the design is for a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment septic tank with outlet. Oh, by the way, that last one was I didn't read it, but it was a terrace system. And it wasn't level. The first one was level. But this one, 2-compartment septic tank with outlet filter, 3 foot by 45 foot by 12-inch effective depth sidewall trenches. They're level. 499 gallons a day are provided versus 440 required. Fill is required. The reserve areas between and adjacent to the trenches. 5-foot water table separation. Ballast is not required for the septic tank. Filtration control is not specified on this one. Septic tank and SAS separation to the wells and the wetlands is more than 100 feet. To discuss, looks like I don't spell discuss right on these things, but the trench permit still, again, add a tie dimension to the septic tank. Again, code requires the detail on the distribution box be on the drawing. This one is the temporary benchmark is just a screw in a tree. And we need a plan on this drawing to address identifying that and guarantee it doesn't get moved and preserving it. And something has to be added to the drawing to ensure that occurs. We're getting a second benchmark, something that's permanent, so we can be sure the system doesn't move around vertically. Also, this one has note number 24 requiring a pump and alarm circuits that has to be removed. So do we have any discussions on this one?
I'm fine with this, Dick.
No,
Ray?
I'm good all the way around, thank you.
Okay, Colleen, I am too, so that one will be approved subject to those issues.
Okay,
The last one, it's not ready for discussion, but there is something that is, I see Tom is here. This is 44 Taylor Street. I have not had a chance to review the latest changes, but something that we should be talking about, so that, because it's a major change if we don't grant it, is Tom is requested his perk rate that he put down on the drawing, and we saw, but with a very high water table was 2.3 minutes an inch, and that's, at the time I said to Tom that's absolutely 2-minute soil, and Tom and I went out to the site again to look and see if we were in trouble with ledge. We weren't. But when Tom and I looked at the actual site, Tom is gone with Elgin system, an Elgin design unit, and he's requesting a 3-foot water table separation as compared to 5. And when Tom and I looked at this site, we said that, and if we require more than the 3-foot separation, it's just not going to fit in there. This is a really tough spot to fit this in, and at the same time, Tom changed the design from a 220 to a 330 gallon SAS. So not only did that we say, gee, this is tight, and trying to get this in, and Tom he's already making use of some membrane to keep the water in. I told him at the time that I thought that the board would go along with the 3-foot separation, and that in the past we have granted a 3-foot separation with these systems, and that's Tom and I can go through the review of the changes that he's made to comply with my request, but we can't. Tom and I together can't deal with something that the board's got to decide whether we're going to grant this variance. And so what Lee and Bill, my feeling is, and I told Tom at the time, that the last time we were out there, that I thought that the the variance was reasonable and necessary in this case. So, but I also told them that that was a board decision, not a Dick Bombardier decision. Bill and Lee, what are your things? And Lee, this is the one that
I'm,
that's next
yeah,
to you.
I'm in,
You've
I'm,
said you're
I'm
in
in
conflict.
conflict on this because it's adjacent property, so I cannot, and will not be making comment.
So Bill, it's you and me.
Yeah.
What is your thought on the 3-foot
Yeah,
variance?
Dick, the modeling oxide line, is it really well defined?
Yeah, it was really well defined. When we
Okay.
got in there, we were really sure that that was where it was.
Okay, so I think dropping it 2 feet would be fine.
Okay. Tom, so that's what we'll do. So we ought to be able to go ahead with reviewing your plan. That was the question I couldn't answer for you.
Okay, I did make substantial changes. I raised the height of the septic tank and the pump tank and the main sewer 2 feet. They were trying to utilize an old cast iron line that was below the slab, but talking to the plumber, we can raise it, we can bring the drain out and get away from that issue of having the inlet and outlet at the water table or below the water table. So that has been incorporated in the latest plan. That should take care of that. I took care of all the other items that you mentioned, such as increasing the weep hole in the pump system, second benchmark, and I think everything that you were looking for, I believe it's in the final plan. I would ask if this could be in some way addressed before another monthly meeting. I know that the owner is under a lot of financial bank pressure to get some sort of approval. Is it possible?
I'd request the board, since I've been working on it so long, what could work if you guys would give me the authority to grant the approval, let Colleen sign off on it. If once I just get over the review, make sure Tom and I are on board, that we could do it instead of waiting 2 more weeks.
Yeah, that would be fine, Dick. And Dick, you're gonna do the construction inspection, correct?
It's a repair.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
I guess
Lee
that
can't,
will
so you're
be.
gonna have to
Lee
do it.
can't do
Okay.
it.
That's fine.
Okay, so Lee can't vote on it. I forgot that Lee couldn't vote on it, Tom. So Bill and I both agree that we'll do it that way. I'll go over the review if I'm okay with it, which we've gone through it enough times. We should be pretty close. And we'll get it done, and Colleen will have the authority to sign off on it. We'll get it done.
And I'll mail you the hard copy.
That's fine. I'm okay with you have to go to Colleen with the stamped hard copy, but I can work on the soft thing to get it done. I'll look at it. Hopefully tomorrow morning I can work on it.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Thank you.
Have a
Okay,
good night.
Tom, nice to meet you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
So
That's good.
with that, I guess we can move through our. Let me get my list of things. Colleen timesheet. I've got a normal 2-week timesheet of 70 hours. Are we okay with that?
Yep, that's fine.
Yes, yep,
I am too, Colleen, so that's
Okay.
approved.
Mhm.
Next one is schedule of department payments to the treasurer from us. Total this period, $1,525. Of that, we've got $1,025 for Board of Health permits, $300 from Board of Health licenses, $200 from Board of Health fees, and that's it, totaling the $1,525. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
yes.
I am too, Colleen, so that's
Okay.
approved. The next one is to, let's see, this is the tobacco permit for Dollar General. It's a renewal for next year. It's going, this one, it will be issued October 21st and expires September 30th, 2026. October 21st, 2025 it starts. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
That's,
And I am too, Colleen, so
Okay.
that's approved. The next one is a one-day temporary food permit, and this is for Immaculate Heart of Mary, and it's a Veterans Pork Roast Dinner, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on November 8th. Are we set with that one?
yep, that's good.
Yes.
I am too, Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is an old one. I didn't remember it. It's a well permit. And Colleen looked it up. It is for Lot 1 on Chicopee Street for Jerry Kader. It's based on a design that we approved. I don't even,
Oh, that was Al Weiss design.
Mm-hmm.
It's got
Yeah.
two trenches in the front of the house. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just looked at that on behalf of conservation today. Yes.
okay. And I didn't remember. Now I
Yeah,
do. Now
Yeah,
I
there was
remember it.
2023. There was 2 years. Actually, that may have
2023.
run out, Dick. You got to check the date on that one.
Yeah, Colleen says that it's still valid. It's got another year on it, but not
Okay.
quite. No, it doesn't have a year.
No,
The
April.
year runs out. It's only got 6 months left on it.
Yeah, April. Yeah.
Okay. I was,
But I
I
guess
was
the-
there last night for the well.
You were?
Yes.
Okay. So
I didn't
are we all
realize
set with this?
That, well, the well's good. I didn't realize that the, time frame on that thing was running so tight.
But it still allows them to put a well in.
If you look at that design, Dick, there's not much room in the front yard between the house, the foundation, and the lot line. It's really a tight fit in there.
It is a tight fit. It is a tight fit. But we did approve that.
Oh, yes, it's fine.
So the well should be okay on this one. Colleen, maybe
Yeah.
it's worthwhile to let Jerry Kader know when we say this is okay, that he's about to run out on the permit for the SAF. or for
Yeah, I
the
can let them
septic
know.
system.
I can let them know. Yeah.
The next one is a well permit for 44 Taylor Street. I'm guessing we're in the same predicament. In fact, we're going to be in a funny predicament when we go to approve the system design, because this design requires the abandonment of the existing well plus the installation of a new well. And we typically approve the design, but don't grant the septic permit until those wells are taken care of. So
Also,
we're gonna have to, plus it's a two-bedroom design, and it's got the Elgin system. So not only do these wells have to be done, they're gonna end up with the deed restrictions have to be filed and given to us before this. So we're gonna end up with a design that's approved, but not a permit granted. And now we're back to the well. Do we do the same thing for his well? Is that if I approve the septic system, that I approve the well also for him?
I have another question. his installer, does his installer have a valid license in our town?
Well, he supposedly he does. When I talked to him, he told me he did.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know
he
if it's
does.
the same installer.
Colleen, do you know this fellow?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he got his license.
Oh, he does, okay.
Yeah, he has it, yeah, for this year.
Well, we're back, Lee, that you can't vote on this one too.
That's correct.
So, Bill, do we just handle it the same way as with the septic system so I guess that also means that Lee, you're not gonna locate the well either, huh?
I mean, I probably shouldn't do anything, you know what I mean? Just to really
Yeah, yeah,
stay completely out of it.
okay, then I can do that, or Bill can do it. One of,
Yeah,
Bill
yeah,
or,
whatever.
so
Anyway,
Bill, do you want me to just handle it the same way that I'll
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
Colleen if,
just take care of everything there, Dick. The question
Okay.
is though, where is the well to be abandoned? How close is it to the proposed new leach field?
let me see, I can,
Because if it's real close, maybe that well should be abandoned before they do any septic work.
it has to be. To do this thing, the way we handle this thing is the well has to be abandoned and decommissioned and a new well be installed before they do any septic work.
Okay, okay.
That's the way we handle it. And not only that, he's gonna have to have the deed restrictions both filed before we give him the okay to do the system.
Okay.
So this isn't, where Tom is saying, oh, it wants to get done. All it's gonna do is, the paper part of this is gonna be kind of moving, but the system's not gonna go in. But he can't get the well done until we approve the system, so he's kind of caught unless we do it the way we're planning to do it.
Right.
So the next one that I have is, this says an application for disposal work. Oh, this is for 87 Morgan Street, and this is from Neil, and it's for, it looks like just install a new distribution box. This must have been a result of a Title V at 87 Morgan Street.
Yeah, this was from the, Mr. Regine, the concrete guy.
Oh, when they had the
They're-
fire.
Oh, where the fire,
Yeah,
where the
exactly.
fire was
That's
in the
the
back.
fire, yeah, that was, what's his
Yep.
name? What was his last name? Ray Jean, Mr. Ray Jean, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, that's the location, that's correct.
okay, so we're all set with this.
Yeah, it's installed, everything's
Oh,
everything's good at this point in time.
okay. Then I have another one for, it looks like it may also be done, but this is, we're gonna come to two Title V's right after these things that are, for 274 Amherst Street and 53 West Street. This one is the 53 West Street, and this is, as a result of the Title V Neil Jackson. This one is a new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank and filter in a distribution box. And Lee, it was a passing Title V except for the tank and the D box. Is this okay?
Yeah, I mean, the Title V, I didn't see any reason that no, high standing and so forth. It was simply, that the components had outlived their usefulness.
Yeah,
But they are not in place
okay,
at 53 West. It's not done.
okay, so we can approve this though.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah,
And
the
Bill, you
same thing
okay with
holds
this too?
true for-
Yes, that's fine, thanks.
it's
And
the
Lee, it's the same thing with 274
same thing with
Amherst Street, same
274.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, the SAS appears to be functioning as it should, but, the components are just outlived their usefulness.
Yeah. The 274 Amherst Street it looks like a pretty old one. It surprises me, the West Street one is a pretty new one. It's one of the newer houses that are built up.
Should I put it on the smaller burner?
So we're
Yeah, it's
okay
one of
with
those
both of them.
one of the
Yeah,
mounted systems there on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So we're okay with those. The next is that maybe we can approve them both, accept them both. It was the 274 Amherst Street and 53 West Street. They're both by Bob Normandin. Both were conditional passes, just subject to replacing those components we just approved. Are we set, it was okay for, looks at water table and condition of the SAS. Are we okay to approve those both, Lee?
I'm
Yes.
Fine with those, Dick,
Yep.
You're all set with that, Bill, too?
yes.
I am too, Colleen. So
Okay.
the next one is an interesting, I don't know if you read what Colleen put out about Cindy's complaint about apparently,
The allergy.
yeah. And we have an issue with people working in there not trained, and for allergens. And then the next is that if you look at what they're doing on how they're serving the food, they've got the nuts, two products, one with smashed, it sounds like smashed M&Ms with chocolate in them, right next to one with smashed M&Ms with nuts in them. And then with people that don't know about allergies, it sounds like a training issue with people, and then a layout issue of putting a known potential problem right in a spot to bite someone at their least expected time. I don't know what do we do about it.
When's the last time Lynn's been in there, Dick?
I don't know.
Probably around the time they opened up for the season.
Yeah.
So March, maybe, March or April.
And they're probably ready to close for the season now too. Maybe, is this the thing that we ought to ask the owner to
Yeah.
come in and talk to us about it? And
I think
say,
that makes sense, Dick. So for next year, maybe they can give us a little diagram as to where the different toppings for the ice cream will be located
Yeah.
with respect to each other. That'll be simple
Yeah.
for them to do.
What do you think, Lee?
Well, for sure, this has a lot of potential. Could have been a whole lot worse than what we got from this thing. But again, the procedure and layout needs to be looked at. And somebody, don't know how it works, but somebody who's in there is supposed to be ServSafe certified.
Yeah,
And whether they were or not, it was busy or not, which probably doesn't really matter.
Yeah, do all the servers have to be serve safe, or just one person on a given shift be serve safe?
only has to be the person that's supposedly in charge has to be served safe, but
Okay.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
this is worthwhile talking about. The other thing, as we're gonna get, at least talk a little bit about, is the fact that the people at the Church of Christ who are mad at us apparently for saying we want to be taking care of where food is made and how it's made, this is a perfect example of what happens when you don't pay attention to that stuff. But,
Yeah, sad but true. Yeah.
So do you want the owner of Cindy's at the next meeting?
I think that'd be a nice thing if we could,
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, I'll ask him.
and maybe we could ask Lynn to be sure to sit in on it if she can.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There's
So,
also
just a quick question. Colleen, when permits for restaurants are given out, is the fee scheduled for the paperwork and one inspection per season? Is that how it works?
Yes, usually, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, okay,
we have a,
right,
we have
so-
a policy that says if we have to go back, there's extra charges, right, Colleen?
Yeah, if they go, I guess if she were to have to go back more than 2 times, I think, it would be a charge on them because, if there's an issue or something, she might go in one more time or if it's before opening and then after 2, I've got a thing right here. After 2 inspections, $100 per visit will be charged.
How much is the permit? Does it cover her 2 $100 visits?
Well, it depends on, let's see, what you got going, because like the food is either $200 depending on the seating or $300. So the food
Okay.
establishments are $200 and $300. Yeah.
Okay. So it really is, it's just a break even.
Yeah.
So our next item is Winehouse complaint. And I used some time up for sure this week on Winehouse. And the state came in, what seemed to be a very reasonable guy, Alex White came in, new guy working for the DEP, has some apparently field work, has been a health agent.
Dick,
So he has some work.
Is he wastewater or solid waste?
He's wastewater.
Wastewater,
He's
okay.
liquid.
Okay.
And he was coming in from a complaint standpoint that the same woman that was complaining, her last name is Willette, and saying
yeah.
things like having were there automatic controls on the tank, that the 2,000-gallon tank, and things that we went through the status of the installation of the septic system, and it turns out that I'm going to have to go through the design. There's a good sheet, and I have a copy of it. I'll put it out. It's a Title V septic system checkoff sheet, and it goes through what DEP does to go through it. And it seems like this is going to be an easy thing. I'll distribute it to the 3 of you guys,
Okay.
and it gives a list of going through a checkoff of what your system's supposed to look like. It just checks down through it. And it seems like instead of killing myself on systems, you just tell the engineer he's got to provide this with the design stapled right to it. And then he's gone through it.
Dick, we could do an AI generation for this, have an AI generated review.
Yeah, you could do that. But it certainly makes life, when we talk about how we're gonna set the next Board of Health up to be and who's gonna do my job. And this thing makes a whole lot of sense that the engineer has to go through it and say it's there or not there. However, there were things that he pointed out that in the approved design that we weren't doing the right thing. It talks about having water lines shown. It talks about, in this particular case, Neil has three different vessels that are below the water table or in the water table, and only two have the buoyancy calculations.
They all have to have buoyancy, of course,
All have to have them.
of course.
And the other is that he doesn't specify what the D box is going to be like. It just says a D box should be more than 12 inches wide or something. And say that's not what the code says. It says you specify that. The next is he doesn't have on the pumping calculations. He does not have how much the volume of each pump is, timing of the pump,
Yeah, well,
how often
Yeah,
it happens.
You're supposed to have the head discharge curve of the pump and all that sort of thing.
That's right, and he doesn't have that.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, he says, gee, it's going to be a Liberty such and such or equivalent. And you say, well, what does that exactly mean? Are you supposed to match the head? Are you supposed to match the warranty? Are you supposed to match the construction? It doesn't say how you determine equivalent.
Right,
And it doesn't even talk about what the curve is like.
right.
So that stuff all has to be, included in his design, which it is not. So the other that for sure is that there has to be the tank that we talked about at our last meeting, that 1,000-gallon holding tank that put in place of that whatever dry well at the end of the winemaking operation. I did go into it. It doesn't look like there's not a lot happening in there, although he has 500 gallons in each of these tanks. He could have a tank break or a pipe break, and 500 gallons of wine could drop on the floor and then go into this tank. So the 1,000-gallon tank is something that the state seemed very receptive with. I had a discussion about whether they really wanted it to, at least to talk about whether it's industrial waste. And when Jim Tromke was there, and he says, it's really not. What we're talking about is, and he's going to get the soap that he uses, but it's a biodegradable soap, and then he just sprays a few gallons into the inside of the tank to rinse them out. And when he looked at his operation is about a month a year that he's right now getting grapes in and getting them squeezed and start fermenting and getting them in casks, and then they get moved away. And he basically, for like 11 months a year, that operation isn't even really used.
Right.
So the state is going to send him a letter saying whether that waste how it could be handled. It seemed to me when I talked to Jim about it that if he just picks up 50 gallons of floor wash, once every week or something, that it would just be managed and probably just bled into his existing system. I told him that certainly what wouldn't be very good is if 500 gallons of 10% alcohol wine went on the floor and you said, oh, I'm going to take that up, in 10 55-gallon drums and just drop them into a septic tank. That wouldn't be something that a septic tank would be very happy with. So anyways, that.
Dick, they'd be better off just sprinkling on the ground out back, frankly.
Well, yeah, whatever it is, that's what Jim said. He said, if you look at just the grape,
right,
he said, how different is if those grates, instead of coming into my building, fell on the ground and just rotted away and went in the ground.
That's right.
And so, but he was very receptive to dealing with getting a tank in there, and he said the state was in the process of looking at what he was using for cleaning and deciding if he could just put it into the septic tank. So they're doing that, and Jim also was willing to look at his legal challenge that he has. He thinks he's less than a month away from getting full authorization to stay in business. So his feeling is that a few months into the first construction time period that he can work on, after he gets this approval, that he'll get the main septic system up and
Mhm.
running.
Dick,
And
what
then
was the
he-
name of the state engineer again?
Is Alex White.
Alex White? Is he a
Yeah.
younger fellow?
Yeah, I would guess mid-30s kind of guy.
Okay.
Seemed very reasonable, but he was new to the department.
Okay. Did he work in another office around the state prior to coming to
He
Western
told
Mass?
he told me that he was coming from the central division. However, he said he had been working, I believe he said, in the hill towns around here as a health agent.
Oh, okay, okay.
So he's got some on the ground, kind of experience.
Hmm. Good.
So I'm gonna have to do the review. I'll get the review out of with Colleen. I've got a copy of it. I think I do, because she sent it to maybe to all of us, but she's definitely sent it to Alex. So what we have not closed on is getting Jim Tromke and Neil into a spot that we've got the design for the 1,000-gallon tank and get it installed and operational. Jim did commit to doing it, but we don't have anything in the works to do that. And the goal is that I explained to Alex. I said, no one's got any communications from the state. We do inspections. They're supposedly, somebody's got a report or something, and we just don't, no one gets copies of it. And that if this board's going to be reacting to complaints, we're going to make sure that everything gets documented and everything gets the light of daylight, so that everybody can see what people find and what agreements are, and nothing is hidden. It's all out in the open.
Dick,
And
how frequently is DEP getting complaints about Winehouse?
They told me it's a consistent and kind of incessant stream of complaints.
Hmm.
And they said that he said that most of the complaints come from the same woman. And and they said the complaints go across horizontally to different people at like the local level, but vertically, that people's going to people's bosses and their bosses and their bosses.
Oh.
And I did explain that if we we made a visit, and I explained to Alex, I said, if you look at what's going on right now, we do have this small amount of liquid that is not controlled going through that dry well. That, at least that what Jim says is the dry well. But if you look at the water table gradient is going to the east and the south. It's going towards Stony Brook Road, Stony Brook. So it's getting there by crossing Morgan Street. It is not headed north. And that there's another stream that basically runs north-south. That's to the east of the houses that are involved and this operation. So that the water table, the water table gradient also goes to the east along with going to the south. And I said, if you stand on this site, you can see that what goes off of this site doesn't go towards those houses. And I said, on top of that, people can say where the board has approved the installation of the overall system, but we allowed the use of the 2,000 gallon tank, which by the way, Jim says only, it looks like there's 2,000 gallons that gets, or half of the 2,000 gallons, 1,000 gallons of it does last 3 months. So where this thing is designed for 1,000 gallons a day, it's actually, the waste is actually 1,000 gallons in 3 months. But I said, at that whole operation and all those porta potties or portable toilets don't go into the ground at all. They go into a holding tank and get pumped out. And some of them go into there's one that, in fact, that the pumper came and pumped out one of the sandy cans while we were there. But I said, there is no discharge. So when people across the street say that this is caused, that there are problems, if there are problems with wells, we're going to find out that those systems across the street are all non-compliant septic systems, and that those
You know,
people are,
Dick, by rights, per the code, the alarm on that tank is supposed to be set at 60% of capacity, which I find to be extremely conservative. But
Yeah.
that's what the code says.
yeah,
So when it hits 1,200 gallons, the alarm's supposed to go off.
right. So I don't know what Jim's actually got it set at,
Yeah.
but Neil was supposed to deal with that and get back to us. But that's another thing that we should button up and make sure that it's operating the way we want. But regardless, it's not going to the surface and it's not going to the ground.
That's right.
But we're gonna see that the people that are doing the complaining, and Jim, while he was there, saying, when the wind blows from the north and the northwest, I can smell their sewage. So we've got people that are probably with non-compliant systems that are polluting people's wells, maybe their own wells. So this is probably, the issue with the wine house is going to be fully resolved, but the issue of the non-performing septic systems in the area are probably just going to start for a problem for us. So that's what happened with my visit with the state. The next on our list is one that we can think about, but I will be going to St. Martin on the 17th of November, and where I've got I told Colleen I was coming back on the 2nd. I'm actually coming back on the 4th of December. And Colleen, I don't know how many meetings would we have had during that time?
2.
2. So we can give some thought to how we can handle it. I think that I would have a workable internet connection. I think I could try it out once I get there. What's lousy for me is they're an hour ahead of us. So it means that for me, a 7 o'clock meeting starts at 8 o'clock at night. which,
Just
so
one
we,
reason to
we
go
can
quickly,
think
Dick.
about.
Just
Pardon?
go quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
Short meeting, that's what I said. Have a
Yeah.
short meeting.
yeah. So that, we can think about, we've got another meeting before I leave. The next is, we talked about Colleen's time, especially with my being gone. So as a board, we're not gonna be talking a lot all of a sudden. And Colleen has got a request in to change her hours starting at the beginning of the year. It turns out what Colleen's proposal to me was she wanted to have like a Monday and Tuesday off on the weeks that we don't meet. And that she would, and that, so the office wouldn't be open on those Mondays and Tuesdays. And so every other week it would be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. But what Colleen has asked for is over the next month, she's actually asked for vacation time that ends up being the same vacation time as those Mondays and Tuesdays if she were working on the schedule she would like to be working on. So I'm wondering if we should just, we always let Colleen take the vacation time she wants.
Yeah.
So
Colleen, so
when she
you
asked
wanna
that, I
use
said,
up- you
oh,
wanna
of course,
use up
but
your accrued vacation time, correct?
What was that, Bill?
No, you want to use up all your accrued vacation time before you retire.
Well,
no, she's not gonna retire.
no, I'm not retiring, and I don't want to use all the vacation time because I will have vacation also.
Okay, all right, so you don't
I
wanna
will have
use it-
like a week in February or March maybe that I'm going away.
Okay.
But what,
I'm just
Colleen
Trying to
is-
use some of it.
So you're just
Yeah.
gonna go on a reduced schedule then?
Right,
Yes.
that's what she would like.
Okay,
And what we talked about is, we said as a board that we wanted to see if we could accommodate Colleen so we don't lose her expertise. But what's happened to us by hook or by crook or by design or by accident, whatever, is Colleen's next two-day vacation requests are exactly the times that she would be asking to switch her hours to. And we can have, my thought is we should be very careful and see how that affects the board and its operation and the town, and see what kind of problems we run into by having Colleen gone those 2 days.
right.
Lee, what is your thinking?
Well, my first thought is that, we're very fortunate to have Colleen as part of our, group here, and that flexibility is key. We want Colleen to be happy and to be here for the next 70 or 80 years with the rest of us. And I don't know the volume of a Monday and Tuesday. Colleen would know that, but I think for the most part, a lot of things that seem to be an emergency have been brewing for 6 months. It's human nature. But I think whatever Colleen needs for time off, and the board can adjust accordingly, because she's a hard worker. She's very efficient, and there's no one complaining about any treatment or any stuff that gets missed or lost. Nothing like that ever happened. So I think we're in a good spot. I get the time off thing, even though that's not who I am. But Yeah,
Right.
I'm on board for working around Colleen's schedule. And if that means I get more phone calls at work and more trips out the door at the end of the day, then I'm okay with that too. You know what I mean?
We're gonna, whether we like it or not, just letting her take the vacation that we always let her take. We're gonna learn something over
Right.
the next month. And I just wanted to make sure when I talked to Colleen about it, her vacation, I said, gee, if you can, why not put it in a spot that we get a chance without locking into anything, that we can see how it behaves, how the whole thing behaves. The other thing that we're not locking into to anything,
Yeah,
that if we say, gee, this looks like it can work, and in fact, if it doesn't work, then we owe it to ourselves and the town and Colleen to make something work. So
you know,
it
Dick,
may be that it doesn't work, but at least I wanted to make sure that we all knew that we were, like it or not, by granting Colleen her vacation requests, we're ending up trying out the very thing that Colleen was asking to do.
yeah, you know, Dick, Colleen is certainly indispensable on our board. There's no doubt about it. The thing is, though, never mind us personally, we have to prep the townspeople for this proposed change. So is there any way that we can advertise this on the website to the constituency, that please make sure that you conduct your business on the Board of Health on these days and not these other days? So we have to prep the people, because we don't want people walking in on a Monday morning and becoming, be disappointed that they can't get service, you see? So we have to
Maybe
be
we could,
careful how we advertise this.
yeah, we could at least, knowing that Colleen's gonna be gone these 4 days that are coming up over
Right.
the next month, we could put that out right away, saying that's what it is, and
And hopefully the
it,
word will get around town. Colleen, do you have access to the website so you can modify the website, or who does that
I
sort of
don't,
thing?
but I'd have to send the request over to the assistant town administrator to put on, they'll put it on the website
Okay,
if we ask. Yeah,
yeah, but we can't blindside the population. We have to give them a
Yep.
heads up as to what's
sure,
happening.
yeah.
do
So,
we,
Colleen, on a normal day, let's make pretend you have to go to the dentist and you're out. Do you guys in the office, different offices, kind of, not do the other person's job, but if someone says, hey, the tax collector is not here, or the assessor's not here, whatever.
Yeah.
You guys say, no, so-and-so had to leave, I can take a note and have her
Yes.
call you when she gets back.
Yeah, we do
happens
that.
anyway, right?
We do that all
Okay,
the time.
so-
We take in, like, we'll have an envelope for, say, the assessor's office is closed. We'll have an envelope, and if someone comes in to drop off their paperwork or whatever, we'll put it in the envelope for her, or the collector or the town clerk. I'll do that for them, and they do that for me when I'm out. Yeah, yep, we do that.
Okay, so it's not as if people are just gonna be wandering the hallway, and.
No, not at all. They'll say,
Get
okay,
nothing,
close.
get
I have a
nothing done.
sign up, usually I have a sign up, and then they'll say, hey, if you have a note to leave, a message, paperwork, whatever, they'll take it in.
I
Okay,
think
so
taking what you're saying and what Bill is saying, there for sure, there's a thing that, going one step further from what you just said, Lee, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, we all get vacation. It's a different thing when you tell the office, oh no, Colleen, it's not a vacation anymore. Colleen's changing her hours, and every other Monday and Tuesday, she's not gonna be here.
Mhm.
And for Colleen to talk to the people in that office and say, you know, what do I have to do to make it so we don't put an extra load on those people? Saying,
Mhm.
wait a second, we didn't sign up for this. And the
Right.
other, going to what Bill's saying, do we get something, do, do we say something at the very beginning? We let people know that the office is gonna be closed on Monday and Tuesday of this week and Monday and Tuesday of that week. At what point do we tell the town that, gee, it worked out well enough? Maybe we do it in the step that Colleen is in fact doing, that she tells people, gee, it's gonna be closed this and this. And then we come back to the town and say, you know, we tried it out. It worked well. Colleen can be talking to the people in the offices and say, how did this work out? What problems do we have? And then if we choose to go forward, then we let the town know, we did try it and we made these adjustments. And so we, as the two of you guys just brought up two different things that are really valid.
Yeah.
One is the people that Colleen touches immediately every day. How do they handle it and what has to be done to fix that? And then the townspeople that we touch only as needed and see how that happens. So we actually do use this little trial period to let
Mhm.
people know what's going on and see what kind of
Mhm.
problems we cause.
Mhm.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
So that's a worthwhile discussion. So
Good.
Colleen, it sounds like this next communication step is
Mhm.
that your responsibility to talk to your close cohorts
Mhm.
and see what we have to do to make it so their life is not
Mhm.
crazy. Maybe they say, we don't want to hear that phone ringing. It's crazy when you do that. Maybe we have to do something different.
Mhm.
But anyways, and once it starts after the first week, and they say, wow, we never knew this problem was going to occur. And
Mhm.
we have to adjust again.
Mhm.
But then for sure, so that the townspeople know it's coming, to let what we're planning to do get out onto the internet like Bill is talking about, so people aren't surprised and say, nuts, I took time off from work to be here on that Tuesday when you're not here.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then maybe leave a sign on the door too, or
Oh,
on
yeah,
our office or whatever,
sure. That's what
saying
I,
that
that's
this
what
is
I
coming.
typically do, along with my email note and
Yeah,
the phone message
yeah.
note on my plexiglass.
Excellent.
Okay,
the next,
so,
the-
it's well thought out. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, sorry.
that's okay. The next one is it's interesting, our thought about the ADU rental units with backup power, and Colleen did some work, and it sounds like nobody in the surrounding towns that she found was requiring backup power, and it's very interesting what Tom Quinlan just, I don't know if Bill and Lee, you read what Colleen just sent out. And Tom Quinlan saying that you can't put special requirements on the AD units without, I forget what he said, town meeting approval,
Well, it's
Colleen,
gotta
or
go
something?
A
Attorney
bylaw
General.
that goes through the Attorney General's
Right,
office, because
that's
he
right.
took he had some meeting or attended some meeting about this.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew, and he happened to come into the office, so I was talking to him today about it.
It's interesting that it looked like it was especially headed towards power, which is, I'll bet if the Board of Health said, no, we're not talking about power. We're talking about you have to have water and sewage. You have to have that. That's required to rent the place, which would be,
Dick,
I think,
Dick,
different.
Dick, there's a interesting article in the Sunday Globe. They have a big article on 105 CMR 410, the housing code, which I thought was really kind of interesting and ironic that it showed up. But there's this huge article on rental properties in the Globe Sunday.
Really?
And it did, you're right. You need sewage, they talked about the square footage for rentals and the fact that you need electricity and heat and ventilation, the normal things we talk about. But it was highlighted in the Globe on Sunday.
Huh.
But,
It
but
seems
I guess we
hard to
can't-
believe that the Attorney General would have to give somebody, a town, permission to require that you have sewage.
No, I think that's embedded in 105 CMR 410. That's embedded in there. If you look at the housing code, you
That's
have to
right.
provide sewage. Yeah, you don't need to. I think what Tom meant was we have to go to the AG and town meeting and do a bylaw if we were going to do something more severe than the state minimum standards.
Yeah, I think that's what he was meaning.
That's what I think
And
too.
I think the backup power provision is more severe because think about it, most people in town, unless they have battery backup or generators, they don't have reserve power.
Right. So
we
they can all say, oh yeah, well, we can do it. We've got some little thing, a way to get heat, or we can put blankets on and stuff, but that's not the same as the health issues of drinking and pooping. Those are different. So anyways, we're moving along, but we don't have what are we gonna do with this? Are we gonna give it more thought? What are we thinking here?
Well, based on what Tom seems to be suggesting, is we may as well just table it for now. Because I don't think we really do we really want to go through town meeting and put something together that's more severe than the state code at this point in time? The answer is probably not. Probably not.
No, but my question would be, do you say, okay, we're not gonna go more severe? What we're gonna just say is that for most, if you think about it, for most towns in the state, they don't have an issue with that. If you look at Holyoke or Springfield, you can get a drink of water and you can flush your toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I certainly would be in a position that would support something that says, the people in our town should at least have the same amount of health protection as the city does, that they can get water and they can flush their toilets.
I'm guessing the person that would build an ADU, let's consider them to be a developer. So they're a developer, real estate developer. They would probably take offense to us requiring that we put emergency power and other amenities in for their ADU rental than other folks in town that do not have that luxury. So essentially, they feel they're being penalized for having an ADU. That's essentially the way.
Well,
that's
what
the
if
way
you
they
didn't
feel.
do it that way? What if you said that when you take money from anybody for housing,
Mm-hmm.
you have to provide them at a minimum with water and sewage. Anybody, not just ADUs, anybody.
Well, again, that's
But-
embedded
but
in,
if we-
that's embedded in the housing code. That's already established in the housing code.
Right, but if it's in the housing code, are we then going to get into a spot where we have to try to convince, Alan Katowitz that every house he builds has to have a, Generac system installed?
Oh, because it's your own
Before we-
house.
Right. But like what Dick's
Uh,
saying, if it's a
okay,
for-profit, if it's a for-profit rental, that is if
Yeah.
someone's a developer and they're renting
Yeah.
out their property as a real estate business transaction,
Yeah.
then they would
Yeah.
be required to go one step above. That's what Dick's saying.
Should we be presenting this to, town council to go forward and see, if he's gonna support our efforts to bring this thing forward?
Yeah, we could get it put on the docket for the next annual town meeting, add it as an amendment. And I'm guessing we could get enough votes to get this to pass. What would this require, Dick? A super majority or just a simple majority at town meeting?
My question, if you look at it as a health issue,
Mhm.
that what someone would, it really is, they can't rent it. For normal circumstances, if you don't have water and sewage, you can't rent it anyways. The question would be, are we within our right from a health standpoint to say we're gonna regulate that you have to have that even if there's a power failure? But
I'm
we could-
guessing the Board of Health has pretty broad powers, and I'm guessing we would probably win that argument if it went to court.
If you want, I can get in touch with Brian and see what he thinks.
Yeah, talk to Brian.
And we could find out how far, just because Tom said that to us, we don't know what the state law really means. It's just Tom's interpretation of what someone told him.
Right, and again, this is brand new. These are
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
new regulations, and there's always room for reinterpretation, so let's talk to,
I can give him a call.
yeah, and then he can talk to the AG's office himself. That's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Got, oh, I had an assignment that I talked to Tammy Martin. And I talked to her about three things. I talked to her about trash pickup
Oh, okay.
and two issues on Ken Lane. Trash pickup, she was tickled pink to have the Board of Health want to be involved with her and get it, because she's going out for request for proposal and she doesn't know where she's headed, and she's just not blindly, but starting off by saying, hey, the contract is up and let's see what happens if we try to extend it. And so, but she expects it to be expensive and expects to be problems. And I told her that we've been around for a while as a group of three people, and that we knew what it was like when it was bad, and that an incomplete or ineffective trash program very rapidly turns it from a financial issue in the town to a health issue for the Board of Health. And
Right.
she understood that, and she actually was surprised that the trash pickup was part of the selectman's job, and I explained to her that it actually, trash didn't used to be, but once it became a big financial issue, then the selectmen, being the kind of the head financial group, were the ones that handled it. And I told her about assigning landfills but anyway, she said, boy, it looks like a big problem, and that she absolutely welcomes anybody that wants to help out with it, and she will absolutely have us fully involved.
Good. Well, I'm gonna talk to her at some point about it as well, Dick. That's great. Excellent. Good.
So that's it. The second one was on Diane Percy, and as it turns out, I also actually gave Dave Gasperia a call today. That at our last meeting, Diane Percy said that she tried to get stuff done through Chris Martin on using that revolving fund and didn't get any place. And Tammy didn't understand that fund, didn't know what the number was of the account. She really didn't know anything about it. And
Mhm.
she asked that we get involved if we could, and see if Colleen could help and at least get the account number to see what was going on. And Colleen did find that. And
Oh,
she sent it to Tammy, and I will get back in touch with Tammy to see how we move forward with it. The other that I talked to her about was that Dave Gasperi, we expected, was gonna have to use the second pipe that was supposed to be installed on Ken Lane that didn't get installed. And that I asked Tammy if I could actually have permission to talk to Dave DeRocher about how we get a second pipe installed. And Tammy said, absolutely. He said, I've got enough problems to be dealing with, that worrying about a little pipe on the side of the road is not a high on her list. So I talked to Dave, and Dave's concern, he had two concerns. One is that the second pipe going to the Gasperi house actually ends up being a much bigger job, because it's got to go through another driveway, around the cul-de-sac to the house. He said, but that being said, he said, because it was a quickie installation of a plastic pipe, he says, if we go in and try to find it, he says, almost certainly they're
You're
gonna break the
it.
first
Of
one.
course you're gonna break. That's why, Dick, I can't believe they didn't put that second pipe in.
I
cannot
can't either.
believe that. The story
I
that I
can't-
heard is, I guess the pipe was being provided by a contractor for a small amount of money, and he thought he had more pipe than he actually had, so the second pipe was never part of the deal. That was my understanding. But
What
you're right,
happens,
if they
though, is-
try to go to put the second pipe in, they're gonna break it, so they may as well just plan on putting two new pipes in at this point.
Right, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. You don't try to do, but what Dave had is a different idea. And when I looked on the land drawings, the Gasberry property is way bigger than the other properties down there.
Mhm.
And what Dave said is, you know what? Why can't he, as long as it's his pipe that he's got in there, Dave put in a new system. And the pipe goes out like 20 feet from his house. And Dave says, you know, what if he just puts it back there 100 feet, get it far enough away so the discharge of the pipe ends up getting far enough back to pick up the normal groundwater gradient that goes towards the brook. And he says, so it never comes back to his house. And
Right,
instead of going
right.
to the south, he goes to the north.
Right,
And what Dave told me is that his land is kind of like a peninsula. He's kind of like that road is kind of like at the south end of this peninsula. and that the water goes in the back of his house, most of his water goes to the east, not to the west. He says there's a hump back in there.
Well,
So
behind
what,
Gaspari's house, Dick, there's a new leach field that went in around 2010.
yeah,
So he's got to be
Yeah.
careful about the new leach field. Yes.
so what his plan is, he didn't seem very worried. He was gonna get a pipe. He said, I'm gonna go to Home Depot today and I'll get a pipe, a longer pipe. And I'm just gonna lay it on the ground and get it out further and see if I get it away from my house. He says, I don't have, since I did my job, this past summer, he says, I haven't had any water in my cellar, but he said, it's rained. I said, yeah, Dave, we've been in a drought. That's what the problem.
That's
We had
right.
a couple heavy rains, but mostly drought.
Right.
So that's what he was gonna do. He didn't seem very worried.
So
And-
Gaspari's going to take care of it himself. Is that right?
That's what he's gonna try to do,
Okay,
and he says,
good,
I think I
good.
can make it work.
Good.
So those were the results of my 3 conversations.
Good.
So I still have to get back, now that Colleen found what happened with the count numbers, I'll get back with Tammy and give her a report back of what we've got.
Okay.
So what are we at here? What kind of we've got a thing from Bill. What kind of things have you been doing for building approvals, Bill?
Well, we had 32 Bachelor Street. That's Labree's old house. Fellow with the deck in the back. They finally sent me a little sketch showing the leach field. I don't understand why they just didn't get the original septic design. They didn't. But I gave them the green light with the proviso that they got to watch out for their well service line coming in from the other side of the house. But
Okay.
their leach field is well away from the proposed work, but they still got to watch
Okay.
out for their well service line. So that one's completed. The 11 Griswold, that one's completed. 415 Bachelor, Mr. Broussard, is that his name? Colleen, that's the contractor, Joe Broussard.
Yeah, I'm not sure
He
what his
called
name
me
is.
today, Dick, about 3 o'clock. This is the guy that's building a romper room on top of the new garage that they're proposing. The existing house is 3 bedrooms. This new romper room, if you will, great room, whatever you want to call it, conceivably could be used as a bedroom. So I said, listen, get your engineer to write a statement asserting that the proposed change in use or proposed change in bedroom would be okay with the existing leach field. And he kind of balked on that because he doesn't have access to that design. I think Colleen might have the design that you can send to him, Colleen.
Okay,
But he would not be opposed, and of course, he's the contractor. This is not the homeowner speaking.
Okay.
But the contractor says they're not opposed to upgrading their leach field. Supposedly, Dick, it's 17 years old, the system.
Okay.
It's a fairly old system. So
Now
again,
that's the one, Bill, that Colleen has got passed on a letter or an email that came from a neighbor, I think.
oh, right.
And,
Mhm.
and it looked like it came into the town clerk. And it seems like the person is, and I don't know how we got a copy of it, but the person is essentially asking for a list of all approved permits and designs and anything that's being done to stop his property from being flooded. And I think that's what it said, didn't it, Colleen?
Yes, he wanted to see all the plans or any permits, so Tom did send him those plans.
Okay,
Yeah, he sent him what he was, asking for as far as the new plans, so he could see what they were doing.
who is the person
Okay.
asking for the information, Colleen?
I think it was next door at 413
Oh,
Bachelor.
okay. So did they do it under a Freedom of Information Act request?
Yes, they sent it to the town clerk and they
Oh, they
said,
did,
I am
okay.
requesting
Oh, okay.
any permits and things, and it basically was for Tom, so then Tom
Oh.
did send it. It's just we were copied on all of it.
Okay.
So, but we don't have any permits or requests for permits, so we don't have to send anything.
We're right, we don't have
But I
anything.
think the only thing that's outstanding on our end is we need a letter from an engineer or sanitarian asserting that this new room will not
Mhm.
adversely affect the septic system.
Okay,
It's a pretty big
Okay.
addition, though. It's a good addition, Dick. It's a big
Okay.
garage and a big room up top.
huh. So, what else do we? What other things do we have, Colleen, that have come in?
I think that's about it, unless, were you talking about the bake sales or
Oh,
anything
we
about
didn't
that?
do that.
We started to, but then I think I interrupted you, but.
We didn't, that Colleen has got at least a note back saying that, and from Lynn, saying that that the people that are involved with the Church of Christ aren't happy that we're saying that the food has to be prepared in a safe kitchen or an inspected kitchen. And Lynn actually came back with something that apparently is a state allowed thing. That Colleen, I'm going to try to paraphrase what I think she said is that if the food is a non-hazardous food, it can be prepared or a non-potentially hazardous food. It could be prepared in a non-inspected kitchen. However, when it's being offered for sale, they have to have a notice saying that the food was made in a kitchen that is not routinely inspected by the town or state.
Yes, and it's also for sale or service at a function such as a religious or charitable organization bake sale. So, yep, no permit is required as long as those two conditions. Uh, the food is not hazardous, so bake sale stuff, cookies, brownies.
Cookies, banana, but no custard, obviously.
No
and
custard, nothing
no
with
cream
cream, nothing that
pies.
has to be refrigerated,
Right.
that type of thing. But you have to have a visible placard there saying it was prepared in a kitchen that is not subject to regulation and inspection by the regulatory authority. So that it,
So there's actually a couple different things. One is it's got to be, you said it's a bake kind of sale type. So that's, I wonder what that means. Does that mean that I'm going to put it in a funny way.
So
Not a funny.
they're baked
Let's
goods
say
that are
there is
brought
a
up to
chicken.
temperature.
Yeah, there is a chicken barbecue supper being held or a takeout, whatever, there's a sign someplace that says
Mhm.
we have a chicken barbecue takeout at the church of something.
Yeah, but
Now, at that,
that's no good, Dick, because chicken is a hazardous food if it's
right,
undercooked.
so now we say, okay, so the chicken, all the stuff associated with that chicken can't sit this way. However, at the same place, let's say they have a table that's got brownies and cakes and pies, and now
Mm.
now the event isn't a bake sale, but the table where this is kind of a bake sale. So do we say, okay, guys, you have to keep this stuff separate, and have that other table just be labeled. But you can't be mixing a plate of chicken so that the chicken spatter can go into the brownies and someone takes the brownies away.
Right.
That doesn't seem, if that's what we're saying, it doesn't seem like a hard thing to manage.
Yes, specifically, Colleen, what were they upset about?
Well, that bake sales can't go on. You know, how they always have, gone on, like a bake sale at a school or whatnot. They don't want to have to make their food in a licensed kitchen when people have always typically for a bake sale, they've been making their items in
Yeah,
their
yeah,
own.
so I'm guessing
home.
a lot of the parishioners or church-going folks bring stuff from their own home to sell at these
Yes.
sales. That's what-
Yes, exactly, exactly. That's right.
Well, so when Lynn suggested that there's a list or whatever term she used, how do we find out what that is? Or is she gonna present it to the church and tell, I mean, if it's brownies, chocolate chip cookies, things like this, are they a no concern food item? And are we entering a war that we are not gonna win? Or none of the above? I mean, obviously the peanut allergy thing is fresh in our mind because of Cindy's. But if Lynn has got some information that this type of a bake sale, doesn't get people into trouble, I'm not sure which direction we should be going in here to keep everybody safe and keep the church happy. I get the habit of, I've always made my cookies at home. I understand that part, and they may be upset about having to bring their ingredients into the kitchen and cook under supervision, which may be insulting to them. They're looking at it the wrong way. It's old habits die hard.
The other thing though with the Serve Safe is if they put banana bread with nuts in it, how do they convey to the potential buyer that there may be nuts in the banana bread, which is typical?
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I think part of your label, if we're gonna do that, is to say that people, that we start off saying to get the list of things, we just call it non-potentially hazardous foods. And then we probably won't be perfect, but as Bill says, it's easy to say custard is one of those. And yeah, there'll be some others that slip through, but we'll probably get, 80, 90% of the stuff we catch. But then as part of the label, maybe we do exactly, Bill, to get what you're talking about, is that label has to say, these are not, we just tell them on the table, say this food isn't prepared in an inspected kitchen and they are not allergy safe. They just
Right.
have to say it right on the thing that whether they are allergy safe or not, you just say they're not.
Right.
And then you don't worry about it. Then you
Yeah.
say it wasn't, then whoever buys it knows it wasn't made in a, so we just get it that way. We say it's a non-potentially hazardous, and then it has to be labeled at those two things. And then kind of everybody does what they used to do, except if someone says, yeah, but my favorite thing was to make New England clam chowder. Well, that doesn't fly.
So, going backwards just a little bit here to that Dino Festival they had where there were some, vendors who simply showed up and or chose not to follow the rules of engagement. So at this point in this type of environment, is Lynn anticipated to stop by these events on the weekend, no matter what, or I don't know how we define what she should or shouldn't be doing with these type of things. If it's a bake sale with cookies and brownies, then probably no one cares. If it's some type of custard, clam chowder, chicken, it's a problem, potentially.
Well, generally she'll go out if they've applied for a temporary 1-day permit for an event. She goes out on the day of
Yep.
the event to issue the permit to them, the license.
Okay, and so when she's there, she'll do a quick walkthrough and make sure everything's
Yeah,
fine.
that's how she was, saw at the Dino Fest that the other food booths were there.
Yep.
Because
She
she
can-
was issuing the permit for the church's food table. And she saw the other people there.
When we get
So
the first
then the
round
same rule
through,
applies then.
yeah, the first round through, well, we can let Colleen know that they said, look at, this is the thing we're doing with the bake at home stuff. So that non-hazardous with the sign that says not allergy safe and made in an uninspected kitchen, that gets that. So Lynn will see if that's there. The next thing she's gonna do, and Colleen will also say, is you can't let vendors come in here that aren't licensed to be in, and it's your responsibility. My guess
Mhm.
is, Lee, is you're
Mhm.
gonna say what's gonna happen when Lynn shows up the first time. And or the first time she shows up and they're violating. I was thinking, my feeling would be that's the time that we don't make such a horrible stink and get everybody all cranked up. Is Lynn just says, this is what happened. I told the people they're not supposed to be doing it. They didn't send the people home. And then we get in touch with whoever at the license and say, look at guys, this is what's happening. If you don't give us a plan for how you're going to deal with this, we're not going to give you one of those licenses again.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how I would handle it.
Oh.
Otherwise it's going to blow up in our face.
Right,
Mm.
yeah, we're gonna be somewhat
Well,
gentle.
dragging
That's right.
people by the heels off the town common probably is not going to end well.
That's
Oh,
right.
it's not going to.
No.
And so my goal would be instead of us being the bad guys, what we should be trying to do is make people who have the license be the ones that are accountable for enforcing the rules.
Yep.
Then we never have a problem because they make sure we don't have a problem.
Right,
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
but it's imperative that Lynn go down there and check these situations out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
fully expect that we're going to end up that we're going to say, uh-oh, this didn't work right, and try to tell people, hey, this didn't work right. How are you going to do this better? We don't want to, because ultimately, I don't think the people running the event don't want to be in trouble with the Board of Health, and the Board of
No.
Health doesn't want to be in trouble with them.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, so I'll let the churches know about the bake sales,
That
Thank
bake
you.
sale item.
the items, bake sale items, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
we have
We
someone
are-
here, we have a guest.
we do have a guest.
George
George
Fenn,
Fenn,
Fenn.
you just jumped in just as we're ready to all go to bed for the night. What can we help you with?
I'm sorry to keep you up. Yes, my name is George Fenn. Good evening to you all. I'm here on behalf of of our company, Local Power, which is up in Williamsburg, to your north, a couple minutes. And we're working on a waste project to deal with both municipal solid waste and then sewage. And so we're just currently going around to different towns and wondering if you would be interested in having a presentation to go into our solution, which briefly is to divert waste from the current sources, which are often incineration or landfilling, often distant places, to building a pyrolysis facility, which would be located in Western Massachusetts and probably supply or serve a few municipalities. It's a kind of a size. It's a adjustable size technology, but that we think would be a much better solution in terms of ecology, climate, pollution, and then would introduce some price competitiveness. I know that you are served by Waste Management. They manage they give you curbside pickup, so you don't have as much of a connection to your waste as some other towns in the area. But that would still work for us. If you'd be interested to learn more, that's my main question.
Just a quick question, George. So your proposed solution, so you're the end disposal arena, if you will. You're not the hauler. You're not operating as the hauler and the end source, if you will. You're just the end game.
Correct. We would
Okay.
be
This
an
is a
alternative.
good concept, Dick. The problem is we'd still have to hire a hauler to pick up the trash to bring it to these folks.
Well, the
So-
idea would be to not interfere with your systems at all. So we would just deal with Waste Management, if I'm
Oh.
correct in understanding, and would see if we could get them to send your waste instead of wherever they're sending it, to send it to us.
I think you're here at a really good time.
Hmm.
Because the town is, had you been listening earlier to us, one of my assignments over the last 2 weeks was to talk to our town manager about the new waste proposal that's coming up for negotiation in the town right now.
Oh,
So your being here is actually a really good time to be here.
oh wow.
Uh,
Great.
Perfect
Where-
timing, actually.
From my own standpoint, learning about something is not, how long a proposal, at least not a proposal,
Yeah,
but
presentation.
how long a
would it be?
presentation would you be looking at?
Maybe 15 minutes? Could be a
Yeah.
bit longer, get shorter.
Lee and Bill, my feeling would be that we do listen to this and that we invite Tammy and ask her if she wants to invite the select board to listen and then, tune in and hear the same thing and ask the questions. That we have to be very careful, George, what we talk about right now. This is a big issue that's not on our agenda. So it's going very far with this discussion is definitely an open meeting law violation. So we can't do that.
George,
Mhm.
would
So-
you be available in 2 weeks at the same time?
I would be, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dick, why don't we schedule George and you can talk to Tammy and some of the others and we can have other folks available to view.
Yeah, let's have Colleen look at our schedule. We certainly, I'm not interested in having you talk to us at 9 o'clock 2 weeks from now. I will get you at a time that's earlier and get it so that we can actually, if we do this right, we can get more people listening to you.
Mhm.
And on this format that we're in, I think what our rental agreement for this space is, we can have like 100 people here. So So, space shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
And,
Hmm.
I think it's a worthwhile
Yeah,
it's a worthwhile thing. And we've got a long history of we own, well, we didn't own it. A landfill existed in this
yeah,
town for
we're
a
the
long time.
host community.
Hmm.
Right, and then Dick, we
So-
almost had an incinerator come in here back in the 1980s. We have a long history with landfills and other waste management solutions, so
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
So it is a worthwhile discussion to have. So why don't you deal with Colleen, come
Okay.
up with a good time. We should do it. We should plan on it on the next meeting. As our schedule is kind of screwed up for the next few weeks after that. I'm going to be gone for the better part of 3 weeks, and so
Okay.
our normal schedule is going to be messed up. So if we miss this one, it moves out. It's like 2 months later.
Okay.
All
So
right.
call
Look
the health
forward to it.
department office if you would, and I'll get
Okay.
your contact information.
Health Department office. All right, I'll do that.
It's
Yeah,
413
yeah.
413-467
413-467
7174.
7174. All right, I'll do that.
And you want to
Yep,
talk to Colleen.
Okay, I'll call
She's
in.
our partner that you can see.
Great. Great.
Nice to
Okay.
meet you, George. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you as well.
Yes.
Thanks for dropping by.
My pleasure. Have a nice night.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you too.
Okay. Okay,
So
Dick,
the
it's-
benefit, there is certainly a benefit for having this kind of meeting.
yes.
Yeah,
How about that?
definitely.
Okay, it's 8:52, sir.
Okay, so it's time to go to bed, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well
Okay.
done,
That's
everybody.
it.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night, folks.
Yeah.
Thank
night.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.